I want to introduce Cooldimi, who is the CTO and co-founder of Cooldimi, to give you the presentation. And the question time, I'll be available also here. Thank you.
Before I get into what we are talking about, I'd like to take a minute or so to talk about what customer experience means to us. So customer experience is not user experience, it's not customer support, but the combination of the two. In a typical way, a customer experience journey starts with, when you want to buy something, your product or a service, and you start researching. So nowadays, we don't go by our relations, we go by, let me go to a website and search for the stuff I'm going to buy, is that good for me? Which vendor I should go to, what kind of pricing I will get. So the whole journey starts from when you start researching for the product you want to buy or the service you want to buy. And if you like it, then you go with some vendor and you buy the product. And if everything goes fine, then you don't need customer care. But at some point or the other, you will need customer care. And that's where you call them for the customer support. So in short, the whole journey is where you have the customer experience. If you think, there are multiple touch points. You go to FAQs, you read the reviews, you do a lot of opinion search, you buy it, and then you go to their customer care. Can the businesses monetize all these engagements? And I would say yes, why not? So if you think about where the companies are today, the big problem is the companies are not able to effectively communicate with their customers, and so they're not able to monetize all this engagement or the touch points. How many times it happens to you that you call a company, a service provider, and you are on the hold for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and ultimately when you're able to talk to the beautiful voice on the other side of the phone, they talk very courteously, they talk very confidently, they try to get your details, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, I need to redirect you to someone else. You have already invested or wasted your 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and now you're talking to somebody else. That somebody else also might forward you to somebody else. Many times with me, it has happened that I get redirected 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Recently, I had an experience where I bought a phone from my service provider, and I checked my bills. I'm overcharged. I call them in December. I go through one by one all this, redirecting, calling again, redirecting, the calls are dropping. I spent more than 6 hours to recover my $600. Is it worth? If you say, $600, yeah, it's a lot of amount, but wasting more than 6 hours to recover part of it is not enough. So these companies, unfortunately, they have outsourced their call centers. The whole customer experience is sitting in the call center, not in their own premises. They don't have the expertise in-house to provide you a better customer experience. They don't have the tools to understand what you need and to capture your emotions. And as a result of all those things, they're losing a lot of opportunities. What do you call the cost of opportunity? So that's where Cooldimi comes in. Our initiative is to enable businesses to transform the whole customer experience. We use artificial intelligence and chatbots to enable all these businesses. If you guys are not aware of what the chatbots are, so think of chatbots like a robot which can handle conversation. And it can mimic a human conversation either by using voice, using emails, text messaging, or nowadays the messaging like Messenger, WhatsApp, and Snapchats, and all those things. So a lot of automation happening on the back end, especially taking care of all the routine and boring stuff, so that you don't need to wait. As you call in, somebody over there, somebody means that whole bot over there wakes up and starts responding to you. Because now you're inside your email or your messenger, you don't need to download any apps. The whole concept of going to web pages, downloading mobile apps is no more required. Study shows that on an average, people don't use more than 5 apps. So why do you want them to download more and more apps? The Impact VC app, this app, that app, you don't need ads. And on top of that, something that web pages and the mobile apps cannot capture, the conversation can capture. You can understand the tone of the voice. You can understand the messaging. Because what we think, what we feel, is reflected in how we communicate. So on the other end, now we can capture the emotion. See, if you are frustrated, we can capture that. If you're happy, we can capture that. So for Cooldimi, these are the three main pillars. Contextual learning. So artificial intelligence requires a lot of learning, a lot of data. And learning in the context. So if you may have used Siri, Cortana, or something like that. How many times it's able to answer your questions? I would say roughly 30% of the time. I don't criticize them. Reason being, the domain is very wide, so they cannot answer everything that you want to ask. So in our case, we keep our domain to be very small, very specific to the problem we are solving, so that we are more accurate and it's easy to train. The second pillar for us is the consumer satisfaction. Every time you communicate, every time you converse, every time you engage, we want to capture your emotions. Are you happy with the services? Instead of asking after the damage is done, we want to know while the conversation is going on in the real time, so that we can take care of it. If the conversation is going south, we can invite a supervisor to take care of it, so that before the damage gets worse, somebody is there to take care of the damage. And then, as I said, when artificial intelligence comes in, people think that, oh, it's going to take away my job. We want to blind them. We think that artificial intelligence will not replace humans for a foreseeable future, but they can coexist. They can help each other to provide better services. So how it works? In the traditional world, as a customer comes on board, they connect with what I'll call the customer service agents, and the discussion goes on. If there are 3 customer service agents on the other side, if the 4th person comes in, the 4th person has to wait. What if the 4th person is now taken care of by our automation, the intelligent bot that we have? So as long as it can take care of all the trivial or the routine communication, you don't need to talk to any of the human beings. But wherever it thinks that now it's time that I'm running out of my limits, it can hand over to the customer service representative. And by then, it has already collected a lot of information about you, your problems, and it can do the smart routing. So instead of rerouting you again and again, it can redirect you to the customer agent or the service representative you should be talking to, because it has already taken care of a lot of things from the knowledge base we have built. And if required, it can be escalated to a supervisor. Now, during this whole thing, the conversation going on, if the supervisor or the customer agent needs to take over, they can do that too. The supervisor can take a look at how the conversations are going. All the meta information about the conversation, like, is it going north, is it going south, is the customer happier or not happier? All those things could be observed by the supervisor. And if one of the conversation is going south, it can take over, so that the bot is no more conversing. It's the human being who's conversing. And at that time, the bot is learning. Because now the humans are talking, it's a wonderful time for the bot to learn.
1 minute warning.
Here are some of the sample charts that we produce. Most of these will be actionable, so it's not like, here is a report, 20 people called us. But what happened when those 20 people called us? Did the accuracy of the conversation go up? Were your customers happier with the kind of conversation we had? Is the bot itself, is the accuracy going up or is the accuracy going down? How many times the time taken to resolve a problem is going down? How many times it's going up? Is it resolving in the first attempt? Is it resolving the 3rd attempt or the 5th attempt? So with this kind of automation coming in, it should be able to cut down your cost and improve the customer experience. Why do you think we are the most competent and confident people? Because we bring in a lot of experience. I bring in a lot of experience on the technology side, and Miha, my partner, brings in a lot of experience on the business side. Together we have lots of patents. We bring in a lot of experience with artificial intelligence, the way we have solved problems at other companies, and we have worked for small companies and big companies, and that's where we are.
Sorry, were there any questions that?
So the question is, as a community, what can we do to support Cooldimi and help you guys?
The
What-
community?
Yeah, what are you looking for? How can we support you?
Well, you're already giving us the opportunity here. It's a big thing. We've been in contact with Les. We were looking for some contact in Sacramento area, insurance company and so on. And right now, actually, believe it or not, we had a lot of response from international firms, international insurance firms like Swiss Re, Munich Re. We had response from Ericsson, and we worked with them at various proposals. We would like to have somebody here, I mean, she's closer to us. So that would be probably a great support for us.
I have a question. What languages does it work?
What language?
Right now we are supporting English, but we can easily move over to other languages like Spanish, German, Italian, and some of the European languages. We have not experimented with the Asian languages as of now, but some of the Asian languages we can support.
I have one other question. How many data points? I mean, I'm getting that it can gather information like emotion and this and that. And how many data categories are you capturing? Because one of the things that came to my mind, and you were mentioning that when people talk on the phone, a lot of stuff happens, and you
Yes.
get off the phone and say, "What did that guy say?" I'm like, wow, I can't remember, But I imagine this thing parks all that data right into a
Yes.
database. So how many different bits of types of data?
We capture pretty much everything that the conversation is going on. And on top of that, as I mentioned, we capture all your emotions. So, when you type something, it's taking too long. So we try to interpret that. Is it positive? Is it negative? If it is negative, how positive? Or if you say, that's right, that's wonderful. So we try to capture your emotions. So, and if you're not able to get some answers, we also try to capture that, you ask the same question twice, you ask the same question 3 times, 4 times, and the more number of times you ask the same question, that means your frustration is rising. And that's the right time for us to loop in the human intervention and say, sorry, I can't handle it, can you handle it from here? Maybe this person has something that I don't know.
So we have a slide showing you how it works in real time. It's not that we go and do a questionnaire with the people, no. Automatically the software takes the positive, neutral, and negative. And we have a special formula. And that correlates very well with how happy the customer is. If we see a predominant of negative there, then immediately we know that the other side. So see, if I talk to you right now, you look at my face and you know how I feel like, right? But imagine having all these boards with thousands of people around. The biggest problem, even the voicemail, for example. The voicemail doesn't have any way to realize how frustrated are you on the other side as you jump from one place to another. In this case, with the chatbots, in order to make them successful, we must know that we have, in general, an area which is positive. There are a few slides if you want to show them.
We can show those things too.
Yeah.
We have 3 minutes total, so we have to move on.
I have a question. At this stage, how do you think your agent would do with your $600 problem? How would it improve upon what happened?
So the very first thing, so whenever, what do you automate? You start with mundane, routine stuff. So as I showed in one of the slides, when everybody is busy, and if I'm coming in and I want to talk to a customer service agent, my question might be very simple, but just to get to a customer service agent, I need to wait for 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes, right? If there is some automation, if I run into my bot, it can collect all the information about me. It can look into the ERP and the CRMs, who I am, what my profile is, and what my problem is. If I'm asking a trivial question, it can immediately respond back, and I'm done. I'm no more in the queue. Somebody else can come over. As this gets smarter and smarter, it can take care of some other things. Like for example, if I can show now, if it works again.
Hey guys, I have a quick question. Do we still have time or?
If you give me 1 second, I'll just show quickly. So let's say I'm coming in, I agree.
Is this just SMS? Which platform is this?
This is Facebook Messenger. See, you will see a lot of typos coming in. So instead of typing yes, I type YRS. And if it doesn't understand, it will come back and say, I didn't understand that.
So we have one last question. Can you go ahead and ask that?
Yeah, just one more.
You guys don't have that much time.
We're going way over, so.
Yeah, we need to move on. So let's-
Okay.
We got one question here and then.
Sure.
Sure. So I know the bot space is pretty big potentially, right? From a category perspective. So how would you describe your platform? Is it, you have pre-baked customer support bot functionality, or is it a platform that would allow companies to build their own bots using your back-end and AI and those types of things?
So we want the companies to build on top of what we have.
To build their own bots?
Yes. So we can help them build, but at the same time, we don't want to build for all the customers.
So your offering is kind of like a development
As a platform, yes.
Okay, so someone else, the companies would need to provide the capability to create the bots
Yes.
within your platform and use the tools that you've created.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So we have tools for training, we have tools for reinforcing, and we have tools to analyze all the analytics behind it. So the key differentiators for us are, I'll say one, we can understand things out of context. And when we are talking in the real life, I may come back and say, oh, sorry, my car is not 2009, it's 2015. And the salesperson on the other side will understand that, I was trying to talk about something which is not in the current context. We can differentiate between, if you have 3 different dates or 3 different numbers, which one you are talking about. And if we can't figure out, then we will try to ask you to narrow it down. The second big differentiator we have is no one is measuring the customer sentiments across the session. So in my example, I talked about, I talked to this service provider 5 to 6 times. Can we capture the emotions or the sentiments or my satisfaction across the 6 or 7 sessions? Most of the time, people capture emotions about just one particular sentence. We are going across the session. So not just current session, but across the sessions. So those are the 2 key differentiators for us.
So, if I may add something, give me 30 seconds. If you go to Messenger and you just look for Poncho, for example. Poncho is a bot that gives you the weather. So first time I put Rocklin, he doesn't even know what Rocklin is. After repeating, he learned it. So now Rocklin is just as New York and Miami. He knows how to tell me the thing. But if you ask him anything else, he said, sorry, the only thing I know is Rocklin. There is another one, CNN News. CNN News, I had something about WikiLeaks, I type WikiLeaks, boom, they give me the line. And this is a tendency because most of the people today, they want the bit-sized information. They don't want the whole article, the whole comment, the whole thing, just one bit. The temperature is so, it's going to rain or it's not going to rain. What happened with WikiLeaks? It happened to WikiLeaks. Our bot are also used for creative business solution, which one of them is a customer thing. And we have, for example, now a telecom that has got 60,000 people in sales, all of them selling custom solutions, you know. So they don't have a up-to-date database because they keep modifying the solution all the time. So they want us to build a system of bots in which every person in the field asks a question. That's the thing. In bots, you ask the question. You don't have to read anything. This is the problem. Does anyone have a solution? And from a knowledge base comes the solution. And if it doesn't come from the knowledge base, a person in the company, they have 60,000 people worldwide, right, is going to come in and make suggestions and start the dialogue. So this is a completely different type of application. It's going to save millions to this particular company.